Do not adjust your dials. Do not adjust your screens. You're in the right place. It's another Wednesday night, and y'all know what it's all about. It's all Eagles all the time. Your host, your boy Cool McCain. Join as always.
Wyatt from Squad Pod Sports.
You know, man, it's a lot of things people say about Eagles fans. Most of them are true. They are. It is what it is. But, you know, this show, man, started it. Kind of we're going to go one way due to some things out of our control that didn't work out. But I think we're in a better place for it. And to everyone who's not with us or everyone who's not an Eagles fan, only one thing for you.
Yes, sir.
If you're here for one or two reasons. Either you love the Eagles or you just want to see what we're doing. Either way, keep doing it. Keep doing it. But
Tell your
another week,
friends.
tell your friends to tell your friends. So another week, more Eagles talk. This week, a lot of things we're going to be discussing. But we got a couple of bits of breaking news we want to kind of hop into to begin the show here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Wyatt give y'all some of that info.
All right. So as of today, a couple hours ago, Mojo. Jeffrey Lurie's son is now officially part of the Eagles organization here. He's stepping into a role within the front office there. Apparently, it's going to be business and football operations strategy, according to NFL sources. What that entails, I'm not too sure what he'll be doing, but, you know, it's a step getting him into the organization because he's probably going to be, you know, future owner.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think it's exciting to kind of realize that, you know, at 26, his son is becoming part of the organization. Some people may not think that that's that big of a deal, but it actually is, because you're getting him in at an age where you can kind of groom him. You can kind of take some of his things that he may do differently, some of his suggestions and things into account when you're making moves for the future of the organization. You know, so it's going to be his one day. Hopefully, I'm sure Jeffrey Lurie feels the same way later rather than sooner. But it's good to get that start. It's good to start understanding what your expectations are going to be, how it feels to run the organization, getting an official job. And an official job comes with official cash. So I know he's not upset about that either.
And I'm sure he's going to be learning the ins and outs of pretty much every part of the front office through these next how many years that he's going to be here. That way he will know everything. And he's only like 26 or 27. I saw he's going to be bringing a lot of fresh ideas into the organization as well. And even because he is kind of the boss's son, I feel like they would have more of a notion to actually listen to those ideas instead of like coming from a different source. So it could be great, especially by the time if he becomes owner eventually, he'll know what to do.
Yep. I mean, honestly, he's the future of the organization, right? So let's get him started. Let's get him so now just get him ready. Let's see what he can bring to the table to take the organization to the next level. That's where we want to go.
Yeah.
So we are joined, ladies and gentlemen, by Mr. Mojo here. Hopefully he may have a little some comments here. I know you just hopped on, but we were discussing the fact that Julian Lurie is now going to be part of the organization as he got an official role with the team.
I have quite a few sons, and I'll just say kudos to Mr. Lurie. You know, I would be doing the same thing. You know, get in position to you know, come in some capacity, whatever capacity that is initially. Doesn't really matter as long as he's around the organization, getting to know the players, getting to know the business. I think it's a great thing. I'd love to be able to bequeath something like that to my children. You know,
that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
No, so we had
Sorry, I'm late, guys. I was coming from the pool. You know, it's Mojo straight from Philly, but broadcasting from Costa Rica.
So yeah, we had some things to discuss that I wanted to kind of take away from OTAs. So we're starting to get into OTAs. So we know there's a few things that are going to be interesting. Wyatt pointed out earlier when I let him talk about in a minute, which was different throwing motion for Jalen Hurts, which I've also heard. I know that he was working on it in the offseason. I've talked about that several times on this show as well as other shows that I've been on, that he's been working on that with, one of the quarterback gurus to get the correct motion. Because a lot of people have said things like he doesn't have the arm strength, he doesn't have the talent, he doesn't have the all blah, 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 even Eagles fans. But understand this, if your motion is not correct, it affects everything else. If you're not reading things quick enough, it affects everything else. So we're going to get, hopefully, an improved Jalen Hurts this year. Doesn't have to be great. He just has to make the plays when needed. He's got the legs that he can use. He's a young quarterback. Make the right reads, make the throws. If the throws are not there, throw it away or try to get a couple of yards on the ground. Just make the right decisions. That's all we're asking from Jalen Hurts in year 2, really, as a starter. Obviously, year 3 in the league, but year 2 as a starter. We don't expect this man to go out and throw for 350, 400 yards a game. That's not what we're asking for, right? We're just asking him to grow. We're asking him to develop, and we're asking him to be better than next year. Mo seems like he's got something to say. So talk, Mo. Tell us what you have to say.
Oh, man. This guy, I wasn't sold on him initially, and he totally won me over, after week 4 of last year. I'll say he won me over big time. Those who say he doesn't have the arm strength, I was watching some of the highlights of Game 5, and the man put the ball in the air for 50 plus yards on just out the boom, and then what I think at that point in the season is when he started to realize how many plays he can make with his legs. He's looking more like outside of the pocket. He looks more like a Vic or Randall or even a McNabb, just explosive out of the pocket. Anything can happen. So I think at that point of the season is when he started to realize, I can make a lot of plays with my legs too. So he's that, just like a Kyler Murray or anybody else that he's a double threat at any time. So he's important to the running game, the passing game, obviously, and the arm strength's there. Again, the reads definitely have to be faster and knowing where you're going with the ball. But I think that just comes with repetition, really. So I'm excited about this year, man. Really excited.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like you're saying, he's been hearing all this talk, at the end of the season and during this off season about, he doesn't have the arm strength. He can't read defenses was a lot of it. The Bucks were out there chirping saying he can't read it. And they were out there just messing with him during that playoff game. And it seems like the Bucks.
Yeah,
and
we should have beat them in week 6 anyway.
I feel like he really took that to heart, and he's been working on that. That's been a huge thing of his this offseason, not only working on the throwing, but also reading these defenses. And I haven't heard too much out of OTAs other than he's been working on his throwing mechanics. And this isn't anything new. I mean, I remember Wentz's first year got that off season, he had to work on his throwing mechanics as well. And then we got the 2017 season. Will Jalen take that big of a step? I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of just cleaning up your game.
It's a step quicker in the NFL. It's a step quicker. You got to be ready and be more prepared.
Yeah, you got to clean up your game and kind of really figure out your identity as a player. And I'm hoping that's what he's going to do here in year 2 as a starter of the Eagles here.
Yeah, one of the things he did this offseason, man, was he worked with a lot of different quarterback coaches. But one that I think everyone who's familiar with them will know is Tom House in Cali. So Tom House is a guy that's been used to help a lot of young quarterbacks and quarterbacks off injury, and quarterbacks that just need to work on their mechanics and their motions. And I have just one quick piece of info I want to give all the Hurts haters that don't want to give him a chance, that doesn't believe he can be a quarterback, that thinks he's not the guy. I have one thing for you.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Yeah. Can you smell?
I love it.
It's cooking.
So that's how I feel.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be special.
That's how I feel.
I was in a debate earlier online, and somebody was one of those Hurts haters, and I was like, okay, so he said, well, what would be the greatest thing as an Eagles fan that you want to see the team progress? I'm like, I want to see Hurts' breakout season. Like, I want those yards. I want the touchdowns, running and passing and everything. I think he's going to be that guy. I think he has a huge opportunity to take, like, leaps and bounds forward, and he's preparing for it, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's very important to our growth as a team, for real.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the Hurts haters really, they don't think that players can develop, which players that can't develop, you usually don't see any progression at all. Where last year, throughout the course of the season, like Mojo was saying, you saw a progression and he was getting better throughout the season. And I mentioned, I think last week or the week before, after that injury to Jalen's ankle, it kind of forced him to stay in the pocket and learn a little bit and grow a little bit more as a pocket passer.
Yeah.
And just being an overall QB. I mean, yeah, he still had to use his legs and stuff at times. But I think that really kind of helped him in the long run.
And then with Miles Sanders going out, as he usually does, he had to use his legs even more. His legs probably what got us to the playoffs, to be honest,
But we'll definitely be discussing that in a future episode, Mr. Sanders, as well as the running back group. The next thing wanted to touch on that'll be important from OTAs, training camp, and throughout the season is Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelce as mentors. So a lot of people made a fuss about Cox didn't show up at first for OTAs. If Fletcher Cox does not step on the field for one OTA, what difference does it make? How does that hurt the franchise? How does that hurt the team moving forward? It does not. It gives other young guys an opportunity to go out there and get the reps that he would be taking up. If he shows and he's, there to mentor, that's fine as well. He's been in the league long enough where he's earned the right. If he doesn't want to go to OTAs, he doesn't need to go to OTAs. He just redid his contract, so there's no strife. Maybe the man just want to take a little bit more time off. As far as Jason Kelce,
for the start of training camp, that's all that matters.
Him and Cox are nearer to the end of their careers in the beginning. So
these guys are not 22-year-olds. They're not 22, 23, 24, 25. These are older guys. We're fine. He's fine. He'll be ready. He'll be ready for the preseason. And
31 and 34. Cox is 31. Kelce's 34. So these guys, they've been around the block a few times.
They're conscious of their physical limitations. To be out there right now is I know they want to get in shape, but I'm sure they're in shape. I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, I definitely saw some video of the off-season workouts that they've been doing, just training different things, man. Very excited by it. It's something that's got me kind of hyped because I feel like we're going to be getting some guys that are hungry, some dogs out there playing. Mike Fuji, what's up, man?
At full strength, too, because they're not going to go out there and get a knick-knack injury, necessarily now. So when the season starts, I expect to be 100%. That would be nice. We just got to worry about Mr. Sanders.
Well,
Oh yeah,
that
another episode. My bad. That's another episode.
I saw that the Eagles have only 6 sessions for OTAs this year. It's like a reduced where like they can have like a max of 10, I think, or 11. But they opted to go with only 6, just to kind of for the health of the players and everything. You save them for training camp coming up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And what's going on, Mike Fuji? Mike Fuji's actually going to be joining us in the 9 o'clock hour.
Hey, Mike.
To add some different takes on the squad as well. So shout out to him for watching us before he's able to hop on. So real excited, man. Real excited. So much going on with the Eagles.
I saw an article. Tell me if it's fake news. I saw an article where they said they were they were going to do less practices this year. That's what Coach is talking about.
Yeah, that's during OTAs.
That's doing OTAs.
Yeah, no, but I mean, do you think they're going to carry that into the season? Are you going to practice less or less full contact, or what? Do you think it carries over into the season?
Full contact is one thing, because putting pads on and banging against each other is one thing, but you have to do the walkthroughs. You have to install the game plans, so you can't actually do less practices. You could do less full padded practices, but you want to have your days to walk through and install your game plan. So you wouldn't be able to do that, but you could do.
You kind of want it full padded, but that's where the knick-knack injuries come from, because you got somebody that's healthy all week, and then Wednesday, boom, he's on the injury list.
Yeah. Well, I think at least under the Sirianni regime, they're trying to take the health of the players, and it's a huge factor for them. During the Doug Peterson era,
that can happen.
Like everybody was going down.
Yeah, that's true. Remember when the whole defense?
But Doug did win us a Super Bowl. I'll take the injuries for a Super Bowl.
Make us win a Super Bowl, though. He's not lying.
That's true.
So whatever wins the Super Bowls, that's what's important to me.
That's when you have depth.
Hey, that's what makes it happen. The third thing, what will AJ Brown and Avonte Smith be able to do for this team this year?
Yeah.
What's you guys' thoughts on that?
I think it's going to be huge. I mean, look at what we were able to do with the receiving core we had last year, even with Jalen Reagor at number 2 or number 3 spot. Devontae almost had 1,000 yards there. Quez Watkins was eating. I think it's only going to get better from here. AJ Brown and Devontae are going to be opening up, for each other. And you also got Goddard and Watkins. That Goddard up the middle. It's going to be a beast. Open up the field, and then you got Watkins with his speed. You have so many options to go. And AJ Brown and Devontae, they're easy to get off that man coverage so fast. Hurts, there's no reason that Hurts should be missing throws all the time in these games this season. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I mean,
I personally think you're going to see a lot of guys just wide open. There's too much to deal with in this offense if the coach schemes properly. You're talking about, and then you're not even counting into the passing game Sanders and Gainwell. It's just huge. The opportunities that are going to be there. Yeah, and Scott, because he was dangerous. So it's just a lot of weapons, and everybody at this point, I feel like everybody on field pretty much should know how to catch the ball by now. As long as we keep a couple of guys out of that starting line, everybody stay healthy and we're good.
Yeah. And then if you're running up the score on some of these people, then you can do these cool things like bringing Slay out as a receiver, or throwing a touchdown to Lane Johnson.
I feel like
something.
This is the team I would go on a Sunday afternoon. I used to go out with my guys, like in junior high and high school. We go out on Sunday afternoon, and we would play Sunday morning and go out and play before Sunday football. So we played for like 3-4 hours before football even starts. And these are the guys. This is the team I would want out there with me.
Personally speaking, I do not want to see Slay a wide receiver. Okay.
I don't know. He got good hands, man. He got good hands.
Well, if he goes a wide receiver, somebody hits his leg and puts him out for the year, then what are you going to be looking at? Yeah.
He's not going to let that happen. He's just going to score.
Yeah, he's not going to let that happen, because he's going to stay where he belongs on the defensive side of the ball and play his position.
It's more of like a decoy thing, like they were doing last
year. We don't want to ever take guys that, are very integral to the defense and get them hurt on something like catching the ball when they're a cornerback.
Yeah,
It's not a wise decision.
He's the next Hawk. After Doc the Hawk, he's my next Hawk. That boy got a nose for the ball. He's where the ball is.
And we need that at cornerback. We got guys that got a nose for the ball at wide receiver.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing Lane catch that touchdown last year. They should give the ball to Mailata.
We can have Arcega-Whiteside come out and not catch the ball.
I think he had like 3 pick sixes at least.
I think it was 2 or 3, something like that.
Yeah.
He had a decent amount of interceptions.
But we want all that to stay on the defensive side of the ball, and we want him to stay as healthy as possible.
What's interesting is the defense was pretty solid last year on the whole overall. It was the offense that didn't click until 6 weeks in. Really,
what's funny? I think we talked about that 2 or 3 weeks ago. Why? When somebody wasn't here, we've already had that conversation.
I mean, they played a lot of bend not break defense, and it broke a couple times, but it was more
special teams even played well.
I've
gone through like the whole season again, and I'm gonna do it again.
And just to say,
I'm always looking for ways to improve.
Just to say this, so we can move on to the first review. We need to work on safety still. There's still questions about safety. I hope guys like, Marcus Epps, Anthony Harris, guys can step up, Kavon Wallace maybe, but we still need to address the safety position. That would be very helpful.
Absolutely.
I'm going to leave it at that. If you guys want to have any comments on that, have at it, but that's all I got to say about the safety position. We could use some more help.
Yeah,
we could use more help, but I think with the other areas that have been addressed and being that every other position is pretty solid, we might be able to mask that for most of the season. Might not fly for the playoffs, so we got time. I'm not in a rush.
But let me ask you this question. If you have a really good defense and you know that the safeties are the weak point, where will you be focusing and where will you be scheming for? You'll be scheming for a weak point. You have to throw if you have to throw to Bradbury, or you have to try to throw to Slay or Maddox in the slot, or get you a matchup with one of these safeties that may not be as good, where do you think teams are going to scheme their throws and attempt to make plays at?
Yeah, but that's what we expect already. So,
but if they're not capable,
that's a defense. It's a whole defense.
For the beginning.
We're not going to point out one guy. We're not.
No, we're going to point out one group. We are going to point out one group. The safety group in Philadelphia is a weakness. If you're a fan, acknowledge the truth. The safety group in Philadelphia is a weakness. It's not proven. That is where teams are going to attack.
It's not proven.
You do not want to have a group.
It's not proven yet that it's a weakness either.
Did you see it last year when McLeod was hurt?
They may play. Did
you see it last year when McLeod was hurt?
Depending on the other players around, they may shine.
Answer the question. Did you see that group last year when Rodney McLeod was hurt?
Yeah. And Rodney McLeod is gone.
So if you want to tell me that group was good without Rodney McLeod last year, we can just move on to the next topic because you clearly were not watching the same games I were.
But if the rest of the defense is excellent and they play at least, they get better. Let's just say they improve. Let's just be optimistic and say they have improved their play in the defensive scheme that's being played. Then maybe they're serviceable. Maybe they're not as bad as they look.
But we serviceable.
We got to see game
serviceable
one. Get lit up.
When you're going to be targeted because no one's going to want to throw to Bradbury and Slay. Serviceable is not going to do.
Players.
It's going to have to be that the safety position is at least okay. Serviceable is not going to be good enough. They're going to have to make
and serviceable is the same thing.
And I don't believe at this time that the group we have can do that. And I am concerned that other teams who have great intellectual offensive minds are going to say, hey, these guys have a weakness there. If we want to get a play, 1 out of 2 times we can make a play against those safeties. If we can get those safeties in one-on-one coverage with our 3rd receiver, our 4th receiver, we can get a good play. We can get a playoff. That's not what we want to happen.
Yeah.
We want them to be able to say, okay, the safeties.
I guess I'm just not as concerned as you are.
Well,
It's
maybe you're
okay.
not as concerned as I am, but I'm concerned because I want to be the best team that we can be. I would like for at the end of every year for us to
Super
hoist a
Bowl, but we're
Lombardi
going to
trophy.
the Super Bowl first of all, so I'm not
So
worried about that part.
we
Whether
need
we
the safety
win it or
to
not
improve.
is all I'm worried about.
I think the only one that I really think is serviceable is Anthony Harris. I think the other guys just have huge question marks. Like, who is Kevon Wallace going to be? Who is Marcus Epps going to be?
Exactly.
Until we see what they can do, I have no clue what to expect from these guys because what we've seen so far has been kind of sloppy. But I mean, they're
Right.
so young still. The only one that really has experience there is Anthony Harris.
Yep.
So I think as
The
long as we
whole
keep
squad
him,
is
we'll be
young.
fine. I think we definitely need to add somebody. I think though, and I think Howie will do it through trade, if anything. Because I don't know, there aren't really a lot of high-profile safeties
I'm
out there as
just
free
saying,
agents, are there?
Jalen Rager is available, guys. Somebody come get him.
He is.
Especially Baltimore. You could use a guy with
Change
speed.
him to safety. Switch him to safety. How about we make him a safety?
Well, he's about 6.
We'll get scored on constantly. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think something needs
He
to be
knows
done
how
as
to
far
get
as
open.
safety, though.
He just don't know how to catch the ball. Which may be a good safety. You're not supposed to catch. Well, you can catch it as a safety, but you can really just not let the other guy catch it. Put Rieger at safety.
I mean, what else is he gonna do?
I mean,
wide receiver spots locked up.
Boy. Next, I'll make him the water boy if he's on the team at all.
Yeah, do you have someone in mind like you would try to go out and get? Cool.
So I don't have a specific person because I feel like I don't want to get caught up in a person. I would like, honestly, the guy that they want to trade in Baltimore. I would like him. But outside of him, which I don't think that's happening because they've had the time to do it and it hasn't happened, I just really want to address the position with a guy who can come in and make the group better. He doesn't have to be a superstar, but I would like another veteran presence in the safety room. Someone who Kevon Wallace got hurt last year, so he missed some time due to that. I'd like somebody in there who can make plays for us and is going to be able to come in from day one and say, nah, we're not playing that, bro. You're not coming in here and pick on the safety group. I'm going to stop that. That's what we need. That's what we don't have as of yet. I do gratefully hope that we get it because I want to win. And you win when you are a complete team. When you have an area of weakness on defense, that's attacked. Right? When we had Dwayne Yasama at quarterback, what do people do? They threw at him all the time.
It goes back to coaching because you're talking about you got a group of guys there. Coach them up. Coach them up.
I don't have the confidence in Jonathan Gannon as a defensive coordinator to do that.
That's what I'm saying. But I got confidence in every Eagle, sir. They're in the Eagle jersey.
I don't have confidence in Jonathan Gannon. I mean, he's not in the Eagles jersey. Jonathan Gannon doesn't wear Eagles jersey, sir.
Except for Rieger and
I don't have faith in Jonathan Gannon. He does not wear an Eagles jersey.
Hey, look. I just think if you coach him up and you got an excellent defense, if you got one of the top 3 defenses, it looks like it's going to be to me in the league, and you coach them up, those players' deficiencies could be masked to the extent that they actually look really good.
That would be great if we had a coach, I believe, that would be able to do that. I don't believe we have that in Jonathan Gannon. I say we don't.
He's already said himself that he has guys that can get it done. He
says he has guys that can
get it done. So,
but can he get it done for them?
His whole defensive scheme, according to the talent that he now has. So,
but can he do that?
Defensive approach is going to be different than it was last year. More aggressive, I think.
Let me remind you that the players had to go to him and physically put it out in the media that we need changes to be made before the defense got better last year. So this is the guy that you have faith in that's going to take a young group of safeties and mold them and help them develop. I don't have that faith in him. Now, maybe the positional coach. But Jonathan Gannon, I do not have faith in him as of yet.
The positional coach, the other players, the head coach, the offense, the team.
The head coach does not really touch the defense. The head coach does not touch the defense.
It's all about
he spends all his time trying to be an offensive coordinator, sir. He does not touch the defense.
I got faith in all of them.
I don't have faith in Jonathan Gannon. Put it on record. Put it on file.
Leave that man
Clip it.
alone.
29 minutes and 30 seconds. I do not have faith in Jonathan Gannon.
I think it needs to
enough
be
said. We're gonna
addressed,
leave
and
Gannon alone.
with Howie kind of addressing every other spot on that defense, I find it hard to believe that he's not going to do something about the safety at this point. At least just try to get somebody else out there, one of these veteran guys. We should have kept. I said it before. I said it again. We should have kept McLeod, man. I know he had some injury history, but him with Anthony Harris, I would feel a lot more comfortable with right now. Than Anthony Harris and some of these younger guys. But that's just my opinion. But I think he does need to go out and try to get somebody. Hopefully it doesn't mean losing somebody, though. That's the thing. Unless it's Jalen Reagor. Unless it's Jalen Reagor. That's fine.
Or who?
All right, guys. We'll go ahead and we'll hop on over to our first game recap. The better one.
Yeah,
against the lowly Carolina Panthers last year, who, coming into the game, they were 3-2. Everybody thought they were, those guys or whatever. Well, they were 3-1, excuse me, coming into the game. Everybody thought those were those guys. And, oh, man, Carolina's looking good and Sam Darnold's playing well. And, man, Eagles are going to get a loss. Man.
Yeah.
Wyatt, let's talk about what happened in that game.
Listen, I mean, we ended up getting a dub in this one. But watching this game back, I want to know how the hell we won this game, because it did not go well for us at all in the first 3 quarters of this game.
3.5 quarters.
3.5 quarters. So I have no clue how we won this game. But they were able to make it happen, though. And it had a lot to do with the defense in this game. We talked about how the offense was decent, serviceable in the last game. Well, the defense was even better this game. You had 3 picks, 2 with Darius Slay. Steven Nelson had 1. We were ended up. The defense, for the most part, they had the picks. They weren't able to stop the run as well until towards the end. Same with, covering the middle of the field, safeties and linebackers last year. They were kind of getting torched there in the middle. But they were able to get it done, though. They were able to find a rhythm on offense. I mean, they had a couple highlights, but we kind of squeaked that win out, though. Barely.
Yeah, man. When you look at Jalen Hurts on the ground in that game, in the air in that game as a quarterback, 22 of 37, 198 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah.
But saving grace for this gentleman on the ground, 9 attempts, 30 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that's where the duality of him comes in at. Mo, what's your thoughts, man?
Defense and special teams. It was a couple of special teams plays in that game. I think Slay had pick or 2 in that game.
Yeah, he had 2 picks.
And we had 3 picks total.
Block.
We had 3
and Nelson
sacks.
had 1 as well.
We had like 3 sacks too, which was crazy. But then early in the game, there was a punt that ended up going out of bounds, like inside the 10, to change the whole game early. I think they were up on us, like you say, and we came back. But yeah, defense and special teams definitely won that game. But again, this was the first game that I felt like Hurts started to see where he could kind of manipulate the game with his legs. Like you said, Clint, a few yards, couple touchdowns. It was like the first time we saw him kind of be that dual threat.
He started running for touchdowns from this point on.
Yeah, he had a really big gash at one point in that game where it was just like open field. And he's like, well, I'm not going to throw it to anybody because nobody's catching it, you know? And you got to think about this too. Them guys were without McCaffrey. Like that, what they gashed us for in running
with Chuba Hubbard.
Like, Hubbard or something?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. That should not have happened. I think that's going to be a big difference this year. You're not going to see that happen to us.
Jordan Davis.
Because it shouldn't have been. That's one of those games that you will call like we're supposed to win. I know they were looking good, but I think Darnold is Darnold. He's nothing to be concerned with. We should have really run that game from beginning to end. But defense and special teams showed up, and Mr. Hurts started to come into his own, and I think that's what all together got it done. Oh, and Smith and Slay, man. Yeah, that's why we got you guys.
Yeah, Smith had a good game. The only bad thing he had was he had that fumble in this one. He knocked it out of his hands after he caught it. And he also had a touchdown that was called back because of a Greg Ward like pass interference, I think it was, which sucks. I mean, it seems like that was a pattern here through these couple games where they were just getting touchdowns
Penalties.
called back.
Dumb penalties and giving up
And if
first
you add
downs
those 2 plays
with bad
to
penalties
his
on
numbers,
defense.
if you add those 2 plays to his numbers, it's probably a breakout game for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But see, that's the difference between having a great season and having an okay season. You know, obviously you had the touchdown call back. It is what it is. But great players, and obviously he was a rookie, so not knocking Avonte Smith, just saying.
No, he still had a great year.
Hopefully the growth. I think he had a good year. I don't think he had a great year. Personal opinion. Growth. There are definitely places that he can grow this upcoming season. I hope that he does it. I saw enough from him last year to believe that he will. But, you know, there were a lot of games like this, 77 yards, 50 yards, 65 yards, a couple of really good games, 110, 130. But we need him to be more consistent with that. Obviously, A.J. Brown coming is going to help that because there's going to be a focus that's going to have to be on A.J. Brown. Your number one corner is going to have to cover A.J. Brown. Yeah. If A.J. Brown is not covered by your number one corner, he is going to feast. Yeah. Avonte Smith, I think if he's not covered by your number one corner, he's going to feast. So I think we'll be able to get very solid games out of those gentlemen, but I think it will fluctuate.
Yeah.
Because it'll depend on who's the focus of the other team. This game we saw Avonte Smith was the main focus. We had other guys have catches. I think no one else had over 3 catches, if I remember correctly. No one else. Well,
if anybody.
Miles
we
Sanders
didn't run the ball
5.
much.
We didn't run the ball much. This was another thing I wanted to get to, and I'm glad you brought it up.
I didn't see any highlight from Miles Sanders. I'll tell you that.
There was other than Hurts, there was no running highlights.
He can't go missing in the offense.
The ball. We did have 11. He did have 11 carries, but we didn't do a good enough job of running the ball. Mm-hmm. We don't do that consistently.
Gainwell was more impactful in that game than
Gainwell had 2 carries.
Sanders. Yeah,
Gainwell
but he was
had 2
more
carries.
Impactful. He had a couple of catches though.
Sanders had more catches than he did.
Where's Miles
Gainwell only had 1 catch for 8 yards. Sanders had 5 catches. It was only 6 yards, but he had 5 catches. A lot of those stupid screens where you throw the ball behind the line and then he's got to run. So this was that time of the year
had a nice
right. So why isn't that going to Miles Sanders? Is my question.
They were going to Miles Sanders. He was the one getting stopped. He had 5 carries. He had 5 catches for 6 yards. He was getting those passes. The problem is this. This was the time of the year that we had not embraced the run
game yet.
Mm-hmm.
I said from week 1, we need to run the ball with Jalen Hurts. If we're not going to run the ball with him as a quarterback, we're going to look bad. We don't want him throwing 35, 45 times a game.
Yeah.
This was one of those games where he threw the ball too much. He had to make plays with his legs. And that defense in Carolina is good. That's not a bad defense. That's why we were kind of at that point where we could have lost that game. And honestly speaking, we should have lost that game.
Yeah.
The Panthers.
Son Reddick had like 2 or 3 sacks in a row on us there in the third.
Yeah.
Glad he's on our
I didn't like it last
now.
year, but I'm going to love it this year. Absolutely.
And I mean, he was right up on the ball was snapped and he was on Hurts. Like, come on. Man.
Yeah.
You can't allow that.
The other 2 things I had here I wanted to mention was doesn't get enough recognition, but Jake Elliott had a 58-yard field goal going into the half there. Kind of a momentum boost, but man, I love Jake Elliott, man. Last year he was elite kicker last year, and he wasn't getting recognized at all. But he made most of his kicks last year, if not all of them, like the extra points at least.
Yeah, and also the margin of victory was 3 points. So pretty much
made the difference.
That made the difference in overtime, or no overtime.
I didn't know what else I had here. There was a huge pass by Hurts, I thought, to Quez Watkins. I don't know if you saw that one. Placed it right where it needed to be. It was a bomb too. One of the few highlights as far as passing in the game. But I wanted to make that, mention that as well. And a lot of, just drop passes as well. During this, Ertz had a couple bad drops in this game. Goddard had a bad drop for a first down. It seemed like it was more on the tight end side, but I mean, Avonte did have that fumble and there was a couple drops. I think Reagor had 1 or 2.
I'm about to say Reagor. Don't forget Reagor.
Yeah, but yeah, the ones that really stuck out were like Ertz and Goddard.
Yeah, because they were
those were the big
balls.
ones.
they were really catchable balls. They were put on the numbers,
Yeah.
catch the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it, man. I mean, never perfect. This was the beginning of the year. This was one of the times when, again, as we talked about last week, silly Sirianni all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Not making the right calls as the play caller. That's the problem I have with Jonathan Gannon as well. We should not have gave up 21 points to that team. 18 points to that team, and we should have scored more than 21 points. But the fact is our offense was not called well. If a play doesn't work, you don't then turn around and run it again 3 plays later, right?
Yeah.
If a play works, then you say, okay, that play worked. Let's go back to that play.
Let's run it
right?
again.
But if it doesn't work, you don't say, oh, it didn't work. Let's run it again.
Let's try it again. No, that's a bad idea. But
I hate the screen game, man. I hate it. When it works, I love it. But man, when you run in screens every other play, it gets old, and it's not working
every time. Look, you're losing 4 yards every time. Yeah, no,
it's not working. I hate
the
it.
screen game can really come back and bite you.
Yeah.
It's okay when you use it.
Oh, it could work.
Yeah.
We can make it work.
Yeah, 3rd and 22.
Run a screen.
And not only run a screen,
Run another one.
Let's have Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins be the blockers. Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
That's what we were doing last year.
Before we move on, I wanted to highlight Avonte Maddox in this game as well. He had a couple great stops, specifically that huge bomb pass to was it Robbie Anderson?
Oh, yeah.
That was going to go for a
Robbie
touchdown.
Anderson,
But man,
touchdown.
he jumped and reached out for that one.
Yeah.
Huge stop. But he really came alive this season. It was great to see him really settling into that role there. I think it was at the nickel he played most of the season.
Yes, I love him as a third corner, man. He was great as that third corner. And I think that's why he got signed. And he'll definitely be that guy in that third corner spot for a while. I don't want to see him outside, but I love him as that third corner.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other thoughts on Game 5, Mo?
Put Avonte Maddox as safety. Do it.
Do it so Cool can be happy. You know what I'm saying?
So we're gonna take away our corner.
Cool, what you think?
We're gonna take away our third corner and make him a safety. Who's gonna be the third corner?
Don't worry about that. We'll work that out. We'll make Rieger the third corner.
Okay.
You gotta believe, man. We put the guy where
he's got to fit somewhere. He's got to be able to do something
on
the field
somewhere, man.
I'm gonna tell you where he fits.
He still got a jersey. Yo.
Hey, listen. I'm gonna tell you where he fits as a trade piece.
That's it. That's what JJ is going to be after this year because tight end doesn't work out. You go.
He still got
JJ.
He still got a number. He still has a
JJ
number, man.
JJ. That's what we need for JJ right now.
Cut him.
He's our blocking tight end. He's our blocking tight end. Don't do that.
No, we've got some other guys that can block. Matter of fact,
that's what they say.
We'll
He's
use
our
that.
blocking tight end, apparently.
We'll use that as a segue into tight ends, our position that we'll be discussing this week.
Yes, sir.
And to begin,
how do you feel about the tight end room?
I feel very good, actually, about the tight end room. Once we get Tyree Jackson back, and if he can stay healthy and doesn't turn into Anthony Street Clothes Davis for us, then we'll be fine.
I was going to say, I hope he stays healthy, man, because they've been hyping him up for a while now.
They have, and he's had monster camps, but he just has to stay healthy.
Yeah,
he has to be on the field. That's what we need from him.
Not gonna lie, I wish there was a way we could have kept Ertz around, man. I love that tandem of Ertz and Goddard.
I don't know if that's being silly, but I still want the guy to come on.
I'm gonna miss him, but I understand why they let him go. But hopefully Tyree Jackson works out. Who else we got here in the tight end? We got Jack Stoll. I don't really know too much about him.
That's our blocking tight end.
JJ Ortega Whiteside, sir. J-Jaw is about to surprise everybody. He's going to be.
He sure is.
He's going to
get cut before the season starts.
Tight end of the year, yo. He's about to have a breakout year, guys. At tight end.
Yep, he's going to break out.
Now I know that Grant Calcaterra, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's pretty much going to be the new Zach Ertz from what they're saying. I expect him to make the squad. I would like to see Richard Rodgers make the squad too. I've always kind of liked him. He's been serviceable.
Rodgers.
He's been a pretty decent spot. When we needed him the most, he was there picking up huge plays for us during that Wentz era. I would like to see
there
him,
was a
stick
point
around.
that I really liked him. I was hoping he would get more time.
Yeah, but I like him on the squad though. But Dallas Goedert, he's primed for a huge season. I feel he can. This is his team now. As far as being the tight end, he's that dude now. They gave him that contract. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Go out here and just ball. You can be a top 5 tight end in this league, man. Especially with all the talent we got on offense. That's going to open that field up for him.
Yeah. So we'll talk about. So we did talk about some of the guys, but I'll just hit up the order real quick. We got Dallas Goedert, of course. On the depth chart, tight end 2 is Jack Stoll. 3 is Tyree Jackson. Obviously, Tyree Jackson's coming off, an injury, so we get that. Then Grant Calcaterra, then Richard Rodgers. Right? Then guess who's behind Richard Rodgers on the depth chart? That would be Mo's favorite ex-tight end, JJ Arcega-Whiteside. I think we're going to keep Goddard,
they got
Stoll, and Jackson are definitely keepers. I think it comes down to Calcaterra, and Rodgers for the last spot. The thing with Calcaterra is he has the ability to skill, but we have to remember injuries.
Yeah,
it's been very dangerous with him with injuries. He had to quit football.
I was going to say, I remember you saying that.
So he's a guy concussion issue, and we know how concussions can affect you as an NFL player. Luke Kuechly, one of the better players in the league, had to give it up because of concussions. So if you have that coming into the NFL from college, I'm concerned. How are you going to take hits from bigger, stronger guys and not have the same situation? That's just me, being concerned about the team. But I think we may see Richard Rodgers end up either with that spot or at least on the practice squad because, like you said, solid hands, veteran presence. You got to think about
what he can do.
Yeah, Goddard is a good tight end, but he's not at that veteran status yet. He's lingering there. He's getting close, but he's not quite there yet, and he doesn't have Ertz to be that mentor anymore. So a guy like Rodgers may pay dividends because he has that extra special thing that he can do that a rookie can't. Yeah,
Calcaterra is probably going to be that dude where they see how he does in training camp and might make it to the last round,
maybe practice squad.
Or practice squad in case we need him.
I'd rather have him as a practice squad than JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
How about that? Yeah, you can practice at home, buddy. Stay there.
You're going to be looking for a job.
Yeah,
yes,
Mo try to flip on his favorite Eagle. His second favorite Eagle, excuse me, because Jalen Reagor's is number one guy.
Reagor's my favorite, obviously.
I don't know if you guys, some of you might have heard my part of the story. So me and Mo were on my other show, the Play College Sports Talk Show. We were doing like a draft special. So we're sitting there, we're talking about, Justin Jefferson, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, he's there. We about to get him. Right? We hype. We're like, yeah, JJ, let's go. Let's go. We about to get him. He's right there. Man, they announced that pick, bro. If I could separate like our responses and let you see one and then the others, you would die laughing. It was not a pleasant day to be an Eagles fan when they went up there and said Jalen Reagor.
First of all, I had to search through the depth chart to find out who the freak he was.
That's what I was like, who? Jalen, who?
Like, who? Then Cool was like, oh, his daddy. I know at some point he was like, his daddy played for the Eagles. I was like, I don't care who. I don't care.
Yeah, that was in the middle
of the Eagles.
That was in the middle of me being upset. I was like, this dude got picked because his dad played for the Eagles, not because he was. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to haunt him in Philly, and that's why I think seriously. That's why I think he needs to go because it's going to haunt him that we lost out on Justin Jefferson, and that's what we got. Yeah, I can't forgive him for that. It's not his fault, but I can't forgive him.
The worst moment was I'll say right after they announced the pick, they were like, the Minnesota Vikings have selected their player. It was like,
bro, immediately, and you're like, oh, great, here we go.
Pick is in. I was like,
And then you
It
even
couldn't have been. That was
more
the
mad.
fastest pick. That was the fastest call ever made in draft history.
It feels like it to me. If it wasn't, I definitely agree. It feels like that.
Yeah. Sad day in Philly sports.
And paid off too, for them, so to speak. I mean, he didn't win a
Definitely
Super
did.
Bowl or anything, but the guy's an excellent receiver.
Definitely did.
Yeah. I mean, we'd have Devontae and Justin Jefferson instead of Devontae and AJ Brown.
Now, I will say this.
I get that.
I feel
So
a
I'm
little
ready to
better
win
now. Yeah, I feel a little better now with the AJ Brown pickup
Yeah.
than I did last year or the year before. And there's Devontae Smith, of course, but dude,
Justin Jefferson,
hurt.
man.
that hurt.
But would
I
we
know.
even have Smith if we had gotten Jefferson?
I don't know, but what I can tell you is we wouldn't have had Rager if we got Jefferson. That's what I can tell you.
That's true. Facts.
Oh,
Facts,
that's not
sir,
true.
facts.
We probably could have got him in the 4th round.
Right.
Oh,
We
Doug
could've
Jalen
got him.
Rager's still here. Let's
We
scoop him.
could've-
That'll be
he could've been an
experiment.
undrafted. He would have probably been an undrafted free agent, Scott, quite honestly, sir. I don't think he would have been drafted by anybody if we didn't draft him.
Oh,
If
what
we
do you
would have
mean?
took him in the 4th round, he would have been cut by now.
Oh my,
He would have been. He wouldn't be on the team at this point.
that's
I
real.
don't.
Though.
If
That's
we
real.
didn't draft him, I don't see how he got drafted.
That's real.
He only had like 3 minutes of tape. You know, they only had like 3 minutes of film on him because he barely played in college.
I just
So
don't
the thing
understand
is-
how you can look at the tape and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna choose this dude over this dude.
In the
It just doesn't make
first
sense at all.
round.
It doesn't
in the
make sense to
first
me.
round. I think that the Eagles had they was into his father. You know what I'm saying? They had to do it.
Man.
Like, you know, that's the only logical answer.
Well, we did that, a couple of years before with Nelson Aguilar. We drafted another guy we should have drafted. So that's 2 times first round picks we've wasted on guys we shouldn't have. So when we are evaluating wide receiver talent in the first round,
So
whatever we
again,
did before,
Howie,
we need to not do.
Howie is good this year, but he's not off the hook yet.
That's my
yeah,
point.
he needs to just keep drafting from
That's
these
my
good
point.
college teams instead of trying to find these no name
Right.
players and no one ever heard. He tries to be sneaky or something. It's not
I don't
going
want
to
to
work.
just quickly. I know we got another game to get to, but I just want to quickly say.
right?
I just
You know
want to
we can
quickly
see
say,
you,
man.
right, Howie?
What my problem is you got people running around talking about the Howie apology application. What are you talking about? This dude had one good offseason in draft. This dude has had 5 or 7 trashy ones before that. I'm not going to forgive all of them because you finally did what you're supposed to do. It's just your job to make the team better. We shouldn't have been as bad as we were, and you would have had to do all that.
Yeah, we
It
still
was
got
on
an
you.
excellent- it was
two
an
first-round
excellent draft,
picks
though.
and a lot of
I'm
money
definitely
next
giving
year.
it an A.
I'll
I do give
apologize
this
if
year's
it's a
draft an A.
win next year.
I'll apologize if we win
Yeah.
2 more championships. Until then, you're not getting
Oh,
an
yeah.
apology from me.
2? Damn.
2.
2 more.
How about this year? How about let's start with 1? Let's start with 1.
Well, you got to get 1 before you can get 2. But I'm saying until you get 2 more Super Bowls, you ain't get no apology here.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. But, gentlemen, I digress. To move on, of course, we have another game left.
Yes, sir.
Game 6. And I'm just going to say, Wyatt, I'm just going to let you start with this game, man. I'm just going to let you start with this game, man.
Man, I think we should have won this game. But that's just my opinion. I feel like there was some good stuff that the Eagles did as far as offense. I thought they were able to put themselves in a position they could have won, but that defense, man, was like tissue paper. They were just getting tore up with every single play, whether it was run or pass. It didn't matter. They were doing whatever they wanted against our defense. We settled for field goals at certain spots. Jalen had, a turnover or 2. It could have been a winnable game. That's my thought. But of course, we fell to them Tampa Bay Gronkaneers.
Definitely a winnable game. The defense I thought wasn't terrible. It's Tom Brady with a loaded offense. They ran the ball really effectively. Like when they needed a first down, they got it on the ground. It was nothing we could do about it. And then all those weapons Tom's got. People don't understand. Tom's not a home run hitter. He rarely throws deep balls. He'll chop you up. Kind of like Donovan McNabb used to do back in the day. He'll eat you up down the field. Every pass play is like a running play because he might only pick up 4 or 5 yards, but he's going to do that all day. We weren't I don't know if we weren't expecting it or weren't prepared for it, but that's what they do. So I just think it was too many weapons, but I thought the defense actually didn't do poorly, especially during the second half of the game. But the offense, again, this was like the second week in a row that I saw Jalen Hurts individually take progressive steps, to make more plays with his legs. Like the first 3-4 weeks, you didn't see that much of that. And this week was another example where he just, well, nothing's open. Let me break out and bust out to the left or bust out to the right and see what's open. And he can still get the ball downfield outside of the pocket, which is really encouraging to see. And for people to say his accuracy is off, it was off by very little, to where it's a catchable ball still for these guys, and they just weren't catching it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think it was something we haven't really seen too much during the season. Was a plus for Jalen Reagor was he drew like 2 huge pass interference plays that helped us, which was probably one of the top things he did for us all season. But even though we were helped out a little bit, we weren't able to get those touchdowns we needed at the times we needed them to. Couple stops we were able to get against the Bucs, we weren't able to convert against. And that's what hurt us there in the end. I know I was praising Jake Elliott when we were covering this last game. He did miss a field goal this game, which, could have helped us get a little closer to winning. But missing all these touchdowns, it didn't help at all either.
Big takeaway for me for the game, Anthony Harris actually had an interception on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Of course, this was our Thursday night game, so this was everyone in the country watching us.
Yeah, and it was at home too.
Yeah, and honestly, I will say it was a game that we should have been able to win. I think not being able to get touchdowns when we were in the red zone and missing field goal, and not taking some other opportunities to get field goals actually ended up hurting us, because at the end of the day, if you can constantly get threes, they add up to 9, right? You get 3 field goals, that's 9 points. You want to get the touchdown, yeah, but look at who you're playing. Look at how good that team was last year, and understand when the opportunities are there to take the three. We were a little bit too daring in this game. Hurts didn't have a big game running or on the ground, in the air or on the ground, I should say. He did have 2 touchdowns running. He did have one in the air. Miles Sanders, halfway through the fourth quarter, hey, let's run the ball. 6.2 yards to carry on 9 carries when we actually ran the ball.
Yeah, they made a point of saying that during the broadcast too. They're running the ball here. We haven't seen much.
And that was when the running game just blew up after that.
Yeah, the running game was working against them. If we would have been utilizing that the whole game, it could have been a different outcome. But
right.
I'm sitting there after this game at 2 wins and 4 losses, man. And I would say at least 2 of those games we could have won. The way we played against Dallas, we were not going to win that game.
No.
So I'm going to remove that from possibility. San Francisco, if we had played the way we played late in the season, they wouldn't have won that game.
Yeah.
And they barely still won that game.
And we could have won either against the Chiefs or the Bucs, one of those 2.
Agreed. I think this Bucs game, we had a better chance had we come out and put up more points, even through field goals, and not been like, I can recall 3 or 4 times in the game where we went for it, and it's like, why? Why are we going for it?
There was one 4th down play. He passes to Ertz, and that was one of the big drops. I'm pretty sure it was either Ertz or Goddard, but that was a big drop. Yeah, and I had here on my notes, we actually started out pretty hot on offense until that Hurts interception, and that's it seemed like that took all the momentum out of that offense.
Yeah, it seemed like it did a lot until later in the game when they were able to kind of get things back together. But until then, man, it was.
Yeah, that was a rough game to go back and revisit.
It was, man. There's a lot of rough games this season. Some of them we won. Like I said, we could have lost that Panthers game because we could have been sitting at 1-5 right at this point. We started out with that Atlanta bunny, and then after that, things got crazy for the Eagles. But through 6 games, 2 wins, 4 losses. We lost to 4 teams that made the playoffs.
And that's a rough start to still make the playoffs, sir.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's part of.
They will do it. And that's why I talk about.
Can't wait to revisit some more of these games.
Yeah, talk about the back half of this season is going to be a little better, easier to talk about.
Yeah, it's a little easier to swallow, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not going to be as painful to go back and review. Yeah.
Some of these reviews, man, you just want to cut it off.
Because I forgot who we played, and then I'm like, oh, week 5 or whatever, and then I see like Tampa. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember this game.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what we're in for.
Man, we should have won that game. I think that was so winnable. But
yeah, I agree.
We didn't. We're sitting at 2-4. This was the point where I think things started to change. So the best part about it is we're going to come on next week. We're going to talk about some of those things that we did to get better. We're going to discuss another position group. I think I can speak for my co-host and saying I think it's about time to do those running backs.
Yeah.
Why not?
We got to talk about them running backs next week.
We're going to talk about Miles Sanders being 120%, right?
And we're going we're going to let Mojo lead the running back conversation since he has such a fixation with one of our running backs.
Could Jalen Reagor be a running back?
Hey,
after what he did as a punt returner, I would say no.
He's gonna run back.
I don't want him as a returner. I just think he's going to drop it. So
he's Barry Sanders.
He's
Barry Sanders without the ability to get the yards back when he runs backwards. So
yeah.
He's Barry Sanders.
Yeah, we saw that. He had a good return in against Tampa Bay though. He had a good punt return. Got his good field position, like 20-something yards.
Far between.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Oh, I know, man. I know. I believe you.
He's got a number. He's got an Eagles uniform, man. I got to try.
Well, man, there's always the second unit in practice squad.
There you go. Red shirt, that guy.
Yeah, his red shirt needs to say "Stop coming," but that's just my opinion. All right, gentlemen. So we're getting here to the end of our broadcast. Any shout outs, guys? We'll start with you, Wyatt.
Shout out to Waves 5 Media. Go check out and subscribe to our channel. Also, Squad Pod Sports. We actually started our own channel now where we're going to be uploading all of our content going forward. It'll still be on the other hub channel for Waves 5, but we actually have its own channel. So go like and subscribe there. And also, go check out all Cool McCain's content.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can catch us on playcallersportstalk.com on Friday nights. If you scroll down to the bottom of that page, if you happen to go on there, you will see a link to all of the Eagles Elite podcast episodes. And in the coming weeks, you will also see on the bottom of our page, if you scroll down, a link to all the Play Caller Sports Talk content. If you're looking at our ticker there, you notice that we're being presented by Play Caller Sports Productions. So basically, we're going to have several different shows, several different ideas that are going to be on the Play Caller Sports Talk banner, and that'll be under Play Caller Sports Talk Productions. It includes the Eagles Elite podcast that you're seeing here, Play Caller Sports Talk show on Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, playcallersportstalk.com, just a cheap plug. And also, man, you're going to see the 49ers way, which is going to be another all 49ers podcast that'll be on there as well. So it's going to be more content coming. We're going to have something else that's going to be brewing for the NFL season as well. So stay tuned, stay plugged in, check out Waves 5 Media. It's good content on there, guys. And Mojo, anything from you, sir?
No, I just want to shout out Cool McCain and Wyatt for having me again. Thanks, fellas.
Yes, sir, man. Hopefully you can keep coming back here.
Yes, sir. Man. I love it.
On a weekly basis.
Oh, and shout out to Rieger. Say no, fly.
All right, gentlemen, we're out. Catch y'all next week.
No one likes us. We don't care.
Subscribe.
We don't care.
And share.